It's time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
Dude, that's pretty good.
I'm getting good at that.
Yeah, I think we're getting the hang of this now. Dude, it's on. All right, so last episode we talked about our creative work, some of the stupid stories that we tell ourselves to keep the game interesting. And the new game is still new enough that you don't need to liven it up. You know, it's kind of like the first...
the honeymoon period.
Yeah, it's the honeymoon period, right? It's like the first 10 years that you have sex. You don't need to switch it up. Like,
I don't know about that.
Sex alone is great. Well, if you have it as infrequently as I do.
Yeah, I was hitting chicks with a fish back like after age 18.
By ninth grade.
Yeah, poor Heather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so... but the game is still interesting enough that people aren't really having to get creative in order to liven it up.
We do have some people, though, that are already doing those things.
Yeah, dude, like the guy who's moving across the country.
Yeah, that's I remember Daniel Snyder and his coach Amir Khan, which I think we mentioned on another episode. But yeah, he just finished that 30-year coaching career and did actually make it all the way across the country, which was pretty cool.
Dude, it looked like there were a few gaps in between. Because the original idea was that he could only take a coaching job in the neighboring state.
I think he made it. There's some big-ass states out west. You could get pretty far.
Maybe so, yeah. By the time you hit Texas, you're...
Yeah.
Boom. Knock it out. Yeah, knock out 10 degrees of longitude. So anyway... we have these characters that we've created. We talked about some of them last time. But that's not all we want out of the page. We want other people to create characters. Like the Amir Khan, you said was his name?
Yeah, that was the character. Was Amir Khan.
Yeah.
The author is Daniel Snyder. He's the creator of the series. But yeah, I mean, that guy's doing pretty good work. It's not like off the wall or anything. It's pretty straightforward content. But it's interesting. Yeah.
It's a clever idea.
It's a really good idea. And I give that guy full marks for creativity in terms of coming up with a concept.
Yeah, definitely. And so not everybody has that creative gene.
Actually, like 1 in 1,000 apparently on our
almost
page.
Nobody does. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't think I mentioned our names last time. I'm Alan Gigax. He's Anthony Scafacci. All right, and we are moderators on the EA
We're admins. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Moderators are beneath us. No offense to our moderators.
Yeah, you guys doing a great job.
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Yeah. Get rid of those Nigerians.
Just fucking guys. I can talk about Nigerians for an entire episode.
And the goddamn... oh, my son died last week, and I can't look at his PlayStation anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, these motherfuckers.
Or giving away their fucking MacBook. Fuck you and giving away anything. Yeah. Nobody trusts you.
Dude. All right, so anyway.
Yeah.
So, characters. So, for the people who don't have that creativity, sometimes they reach out to us, and they're like, hey, I want to start a new dynasty. I'm thinking about, like, what I want to do with it. Can you help me with a character?
Yeah, it happens time to time. I've had a few people reach out to me because they see the writing that we're doing, the stories, and they're like, I want to do something similar to that. Mm-hmm. And so they ask me, how do you do it? Try to get some ideas. Right. And I always tell them, like, it's easier to do a character that you came up with on your own versus like a fan fiction version of doing like Coach Prime. Because, dude, you're pigeonholed. You're trying to be somebody that you're not.
Right.
And instead of just giving yourself the freedom by making an all-new character and maybe going that route.
Sometimes it is easier, though, to take an existing character who you already feel like you know, rather than when you have to build from the ground up.
Sure.
And, I did that with my Alf series.
Yeah.
That I started with Alf and the characters that I knew from that show. But then eventually, in a way, even Coach Ra is still kind of a fan fiction.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
I don't think the Coach Ra series was on Fox at any point in our lives.
No, that's
where
true.
You could get to know this character. That character is almost entirely...
original.
Original.
Right. The only connection is that he was a former Egyptian sun god.
Sure.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. But what we see from a lot of people is like, I'm going to make Coach Larry Centers, the old fullback from...
Nobody's making Coach Larry Centers. They don't even know who
Larry Centers,
Larry Centers is. No, they're like Coach Ray Lewis. From,
there you go. Coach Ray Lewis.
He's going back to Miami to bring him back to glory.
Yeah, but then there's nothing to it. There's nothing there.
No, it's just using the name. They don't even kill people like he did and then not know anything about it.
I didn't see nothing.
Which, if I made that story, every episode something terrible would happen.
Yeah.
And he would be present,
dude.
but never be involved.
Yeah, you got to make Coach Ray Caruth.
Yeah.
And Coach, Aaron Gonzalez.
Sure.
What was his name?
Oh, no.
Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez, yeah.
Dude, good times. All right, so anyway. So we had one guy say that he was going to make a coach, was it Tom Osborne? Or the coach from Nebraska?
Yeah,
what was that one?
yeah, he wanted to make like Tom Osborne, but maybe make it his kid. And I said a better idea would make him, he's a Tom Osborne clone grown in a lab in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And they call Test Tube Tom.
And the idea is like the school used like their genetics program. They got some of Tom Osborne's DNA and they grew this new Tom Osborne.
Yeah, especially because that school, I mean, like Nebraska.
They haven't done a lot lately.
Yeah, they haven't done a lot in recent times, so they could probably use him.
Right, so he's gonna bring back the program to its former glory, but then also like because it's fiction. Tom Osborne is like stuck in the 80s with his references. Like he knows the things Tom Osborne would know. And the misadventures.
Yeah, but that series hasn't come to life yet.
No,
it may end up being something that I end up stealing and just do myself.
Exactly. I mean, dude, it was your idea. I mean, dude, that's how Coach Jelly came from. Yeah, and I know we've already talked about Jelly on one of these episodes, but just briefly, how did Jelly come to be?
Well, Jelly came to be because somebody was looking for an idea for a coach, and if you ask me for any type of idea for just about anything, you're probably not going to get the most serious answer.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, how about this guy's like a former jizz mopper from West Virginia, and he's uneducated, like dropped out in the 8th grade, and now he's going to become a coach. And
right, by jizz mopper, we mean he works in an adult video store.
Yeah, mopping
and
jizz
mops up the jizz.
in the Peepshow. But so anyway, that's how that guy came to be.
We gotta stop.
Why?
Because I gotta tell the jackpot story.
Okay, tell the jackpot story.
All right. So.
Oh God, this jackpot story.
Yeah, you know the story. Yeah. So when I turned 18, I live in Las Vegas. And when I turned 18, my friends wanted to take me. I don't think you were there.
No, I was not. No. Didn't Cedric take you?
Probably. And I remember Jason being there as well, but I don't know. Because what happened would overshadow all of it.
Fuck yeah, it'd scar you for life. So go ahead.
All right. So I'm only 18. Most of the strip clubs in Vegas and most places are 21. And so instead of taking me to some classy joint like the Can Room.
Oh, God. It's not a classy joint.
It is not. But it is fully nude and 18 and up because they can't serve alcohol there. Because apparently if you show your clam, then you can't serve alcohol.
Which is kind of a weird rule if you think about it.
Yeah. But,
titties, alcohol, fine.
Yeah.
Clam?
Yeah. No.
Don't get them drunk.
But that also means that the dancers there can be 18. So if you want to say 18-year-old clam, Can Room.
Yep.
All right.
Is
so anyway.
Is that place even still open?
I don't know. Let's
I
assume
think it's
I don't know.
Maybe it isn't. But I know
idea.
the Palomino, maybe downtown, still open.
I don't know. One of them burned down.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And a lot of them obviously struggled during COVID for obvious reasons.
Can you get COVID from some clam? Put a mask on that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So only if they queef too close to you. Yeah. All right. So instead of taking me to a classy joint like that, they take me to a place called Showgirl Video. And Showgirl Video is a peep show. And a peep show is where there are these private booths and they surround a room. And inside the room is a stripper.
Oh, God.
And in the booth, there's like a big window and it's covered. And so what you do is you go into this private booth.
Is it like covered with newspaper? You gotta like rip it down yourself.
Screen that obscures.
You know, I've never been to one, so.
Oh, dude, you're missing out. Well, maybe after this story, you'll be motivated to go.
Yeah, I'll tell my wife. That's where I'm going.
So anyway, so there's this screen that makes the window opaque, and so you go into this booth and you close the door, and it's private inside the booth. And then there's this big window. And
is it like phone booth sized?
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than a phone booth, probably. Okay. And there's maybe a little chair in there. I don't remember that part. There probably was. And then most importantly,
sit on that chair.
Yeah. Most importantly, there's a little slot in the window where you can feed your dollar bills or your quarters.
Was it a quarter?
No, dude. No, for the stripper.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying, was it a quarter to get the window
we'll
up?
To that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the big part of the story. So there's a little slot for you to put your dollar bill in, and you use it as like fishing bait to get the stripper to come over to your window. But to get the window to go up, there's a a machine, like a quarter, like at the
Like when you go get your car washed?
No, like at the grocery store with the little rioted pony out in front.
Okay.
You put the quarter. It's like a little thing like that you put the quarter.
Okay.
And when you put the quarter in there, it makes the screen go clear, and boom, there's the stripper.
And how much time do you get for your quarter?
I don't remember. It was probably like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't remember.
That's a minute 55 longer than I need.
Yeah, buddy. Well, these strippers are not the get your rocks off immediately quality of stripper. But anyway, they're good enough for me. You know, I was 18 years old, the first time I ever been in a place like this. So,
Maybe
I'm nervous.
last time as well.
Yeah, it turns out it would be. So I'm nervous. I have my quarters in my pocket, jingle jangling, and I go into the booth. I close the door. It smells funny, and it's dark. And so I take my quarter and I put it into the thing, the mechanism, and I hear the quarter get jammed in the mechanism. I played video games, you know, growing up at our age, like you go to the arcade, you put the quarters in, you know, there. And I know the sound immediately of the quarter just backing up, presumably against other quarters, as it goes in there, and the screen does not pop up.
Potential windfall there.
Well, so I don't want to go out and like ask the attendant, you know, hey, can you come in? And maybe I can just fix this myself. So I take another quarter. And I stick the next quarter in, and I stick it in with a little bit more force, and it just gets jammed behind the other quarters that are already in there. Well, what am I going to do now? And then I realize, oh, there's a little button that you can push to like release all the quarters in there.
Your quarter return.
Yeah, your coin return. That's exactly right. And so I know what I'm doing. I just push that thing, and I hear this jackpot of quarters come down into this little change cup that's down at the bottom of this mechanism.
$47.25 probably.
Dude. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I just scored. I'm going to be able to look at strippers all night.
You're going to walk out ahead.
Yeah. And so I go and I stick my hand into this coin cup to get out all those quarters. But you know what else is in that coin cup besides quarters?
Would it be man sauce?
It would be man sauce.
Turkey batter.
Yeah, that's right.
Nut butter.
Yep. Yeah. Goo, jizz.
Erectoplasm.
Splooge, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, this fucking cup. Apparently that's what people jerk off into.
Who busts a nut into a coin return?
Well,
you gotta be a fucking napkin or something? Your own sock? I don't know. Your buddy sock?
And maybe, dude, for all I know, the floor was also littered with stiff socks.
Jesus Christ.
But it goes everywhere, and it is in this. So I put my hand in there, and I get quarters, but I also just get a handful of other guys.
Man sauce, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man chowder.
Good times.
Yeah.
So, if you ever go to a peep show.
Wherever you live.
Yeah, wherever you live. Dude, those quarters, they're gone.
Just fucking leave them.
Just let them go.
Yeah, it's okay. You'll get another quarter another day.
Yeah, it's the cost of doing business. You don't want those quarters back. All right, so anyway, it's in a place like that where jelly works.
Wow, we went the long way to get there, but it was worth it.
Yeah, we did.
So, let's talk about, like we brought up, that people sometimes want to either create their own, and or
they want us to create the character,
or they want us to create the character for them, or in other cases, they want to write a character for an existing series.
Right. They want to kind of get in on the world that's already been created.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I could tell you we had a guy. Mm-hmm. He's not on our page. We'll call him Schmeisen. And
let's just call him Richards.
Okay, we'll call him Richards because that ultimately ended up being the name of the character that we came up with.
Yeah.
But he had messaged me and started talking to me, and this guy was from Canada, and he was obsessed with Canada and somehow figuring out a way to jam Canada not only into this character, but into the series as general.
Right, into the Coach Toast series.
It was part of Coach Toast, yes. This is like in season 2. I think Jelly was already there. Yeah, we had Coach Silk and a few others. Coach Gilbride.
Right, so Coach Silk, briefly, I thought Coach Gilbride was already dead.
No, Gilbride was definitely alive.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much lore.
Yeah.
And so much of this universe that is kind of built on itself. Coach Silk was a guy who had an analogy for everything, but the analogy was always eating ass.
Yeah, everything somehow the wisdom was eating ass. It's funny because I would be writing and get stuck, and I'd call you up, hey Al, I need an ass eating analogy.
Yeah,
and you,
how is traveling to Denver to take on the Colorado whatever
Buffaloes? Yeah,
how is that like eating ass?
Yeah, and then you'd come up with something. Yeah,
right. Then,
yeah.
Fill in your own analogy.
Yeah, and so so usually. These characters, they were all very friendly towards each other. Yeah. And so...
And in that series in particular, they were like misfits.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the whole tenor, or the premise behind it was, these people are oddballs, they're weirdos, but they have a lot of love for each other, a lot of respect for each other. Loyalty. And they accept each other for who they are, even though they're weirdos. And we fall prey to the same thing of like, incorporating real people into the stories. Like last episode, we talked about Coach Martz, who you would turn into this raving alcoholic. This one had Coach
Kevin Gilbride.
Well, Bill Cower.
Yeah. That was later.
Oh, that came later.
That was later. Yeah, but we had Kevin Gilbride, who, if most people don't remember him, he was the coach Buddy Ryan punched as members, I believe, of the Oilers.
No, it was the Cardinals.
It was the Cardinals. Or was it I think it was the Oilers.
The Oilers.
Yeah, is that?
You might be right.
I might be wrong, but Buddy Ryan punched him.
No, it had to have been because they were running the run and shoot, and it pissed off Buddy Ryan because they kept like turning the ball over.
Yeah, and that Buddy Ryan,
run the ball and hold on to it.
Punched Kevin Gilbride on the face on like national TV on the sidelines. So
if you haven't seen it, you got to look it up.
So I decided to bring Kevin Gilbride into the show as he's very old now, and he's.
The elder statesman.
The elder statesman. He's the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bulls.
Right.
And so I'd been writing, and this guy, Richards, decided he wanted to try to write, and he told me he was like an aspiring screenwriter in college. And I'm like, sure. How about we create a character, and you can write this character for, I called it the show, because that's how, at the time, I wrote very much like I was writing like a sitcom.
Yeah.
And so he is all in on this idea. And so I give him kind of this guideline of how to write. And he was a huge fan of this series. And so I felt like he knows these characters.
Right, he must.
Yeah, he must know these characters.
Yeah, this guy gets it.
Yeah, he gets it, right? And so and I tell him, like, okay, well, I try to release an episode like every 2 or 3 days. So I need you to write, and you're really only going to come up with like a paragraph.
Right, just the Richards part.
Just the part of Richards.
Yeah.
And this is who this character is going to be. He's going to help with recruiting. And his funny thing will be that he always recruits people from Canada.
Right, so we'll wind up recruiting like a lumberjack to play linebacker.
Sure,
or something
right? Or like a hockey player. Or things like that. Right. That's kind of his gimmick, right? Yeah. And so I give him this time to write, and he is not getting it done. Yeah. And this is going on now for like weeks. And in the meantime, I'm just still writing my episodes and releasing them on that consistent kind of timeline. Well, after it had to be close to 3 weeks, he finally sends me this episode that he wrote. And he wrote an entire episode versus writing just
a small part.
His small part.
Yeah.
And I think you have that episode.
I do. But it needs a little bit more setup.
Sure.
Because...
Go ahead.
This whole process was an exercise in frustration.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the guy just keeps turning in things that make it seem like he doesn't get it.
Yeah, or doesn't even read my shit. Yeah. Which really kind of annoyed me.
How are you this fan? How are you... And then you send in stuff that like this... out of character. Like, he keeps on giving Richards this outsized role.
Yeah, more and more.
Yeah, like, he's practically the head coach.
Sure.
And, like, talks down to other characters and all these things that, like, dude, these guys love each other. You don't get it. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he finally turns in his piece de resistance, sends it to Anthony, and Anthony is so frustrated.
Sure.
Like, dude, you would not believe the pile of hot garbage this guy just gave to me. It's the most frustrating thing I've ever read. You have to read it.
Yeah.
And so he sends it to me.
Yeah, in its entirety. Here you go.
Entirety, yeah. And I start reading it, and I crack up. Because Well, I'm gonna go ahead.
I goddamn almost crashed listening to you laugh. I was like driving to work.
Yeah.
And listening to you laugh.
And I almost crashed too because, dude, forewarning, it's not good.
It's not even really that funny.
No,
because you lack the context of all the things that went into this. But we're gonna read it to you. Okay. He's gonna read it right now.
So here we go. Coaches meeting. Toast. I'm glad you all could make it today. There's a couple of things on our agenda. Routine shit for the most part, but also a check-in. Silk. I'd like to address the bathroom situation. I swear it hasn't been clean in weeks, man. Yo, Jelly, you think you'd like to get that mop back in action? All right, so we got to kind of narrate this a little bit. Because this is already out of pocket because Jelly is like a leader now.
Yes. Well, he wasn't necessarily a leader,
not at this point.
But he was definitely accepted.
Yeah, he was fully accepted. And the mop is just like a motivational tool.
Yeah, he holds it up to scare people to play harder.
Yeah, you don't want to wind up mopping jizz back at the jerk and jerky. So anyway, Silk already, like, dude, what is he doing? Why is Silk, like, being rude to Jelly? So Jelly, I retired that mop when I took the job as linebacker's job. It's miswritten, but that's okay. If you want it done so bad, grab some gloves and do it yourself. Silk, excuse me? You have quite the big-ass mouth for someone who used to mop semen for a living. Get in your lane. So now again, it's just aggressive.
Very conflict.
Yeah, right. This is not said out of love. Right? No. The love does not come through. And then
you can feel it in the text.
Yeah, so thank God we got Richards here because then Richards chimes in.
Yeah, equipment coach / Canadian recruiting specialist.
Right, yeah. Take it outside, man. This is a coach's meeting.
Yeah.
And like, dude,
if that's all he would have written, we would have been okay. But no, it goes on.
No. So, Toast. Shut up, you doppelganger dimwits.
I don't even know what the fuck that means, but go on.
Yeah. A doppelganger is somebody who's like a twin of somebody else. And so that doesn't even make sense here. Now, let's discuss today's game plan. I know that Richards is planning on running a spread option for the next game in place of Martz.
Yeah. Dude. So, Mike Martz...
from previous
series, and not there. His character's not even involved in any way in the story. He's retired.
And Richards has put himself in now as like the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Dude. So Richards says, yes, sir, I'm putting together a decent CFL playbook, but dummying it down for these kids. Again, putting himself above these others. And Toast says, I love it. How about you, Silk? All right. Yeah. Now, here we go. Here it comes. Silk. Quote, says Silk, I watched The House Bunny last night. Damn, those women are hot. I had to have ejaculated 5 times throughout the whole movie.
And I remember that this was like the breaking point for you. Where,
oh my God.
Like, A, where the fuck did this come from? And B,
it doesn't follow the text at all.
Yeah, and then The House Bunny, for anybody who's never seen it, there's nothing worth jerking off to in that movie at all.
Yeah, there's like
Anna
no
Faris
nudity. Is hot.
Yeah, Anna Faris is hot.
It's like PG-13.
Right, but then, that Silk here is just fucking just destroying his dick and beating off 5 times.
To the fucking house
bunny. The house buddy. Yeah. So at this point, we're laughing so hard that it's like we can't even function as fucking adults anymore.
And how the stupidity that this is falling to, and the fucking house bunny.
Yeah.
And it's 2-part. It's A, the house bunny, and B, I had to have ejaculated 5 times throughout the whole movie. And what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who says that? Who talks like that? And dude, it has become this
running joke from that point on.
Yeah, from that point on.
Yeah, from that point on, anytime something great would happen or whatever, just out of nowhere, be like, and I ejaculated 5 times.
Yeah.
And we would just start laughing all over again. Yeah. Because, I mean, that's clearly the pinnacle of like excitement.
Right.
Things are so good.
That's as good as it gets.
I ejaculated
5 times. It's as good as the house. Dude. Unbelievable, this guy.
And so that's like an example of, the kind of the trouble with people trying to be creative.
Yeah.
To kind of bring it back to where we started about the stories is that, they just aren't quite as creative as maybe they want. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like an early American Idol. It's like they think they're good, but dude, as soon as you read this stuff,
and dude, Lord knows we've gotten years now of entertainment
Yeah.
out of the house bunny, and I ejaculated 5
Yeah,
times.
so if you happen to see anything amazing on our page and ejaculate 5 times,
Yes.
you too could be part of the joke.
Right.
We will still laugh. Other
Yeah.
people may not get it.
Feel free to post that.
Yeah,
we'll
but
enjoy it.
yeah, we'll still enjoy it.
Yep. Dude, good
Yeah.
stuff. All right. So that brings us now to the close of the episode. We have a sponsor again. Today is the He Held On Foundation.
Once again, bringing the fire.
Yeah, which helps senior citizens achieve their bucket list dreams before they die. Right?
Sure.
That's why it's called a bucket list. Because
Yep.
you do it before you want to do this before you kick the bucket. And when you get to be old enough, you're not going to have those chances anymore.
Not to mention resources are tight, living on Social Security.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Not everybody's got the funds to do
to
some
go
of these
like,
things.
Like William Shatner got to ride that rocket into space.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people's dreams are a little bit more modest.
Sure.
Which brings us to Charlie Watts. All right, here we go. Let me get this mic repositioned. Charlie Watts loved the movie Mad Max. Specifically, he loved its post-apocalyptic vehicles, especially the flying contraption called a gyrocopter. So when Charlie turned 86 years old and his health took a sharp decline, his family reached out to the He Held On Foundation, a charity that helps the elderly live out their dreams on their bucket list. Thanks to your generous financial support, He Held On partnered with a reclusive militia group deep in the Sawtooth Mountains of Idaho to give Charlie a shot at his dream. They strapped him into the pilot's seat, yanked the cord to start the engine, gave him a handgun because why not, and sent Charlie to fly with the angels. Charlie's brief flight took him all the way to heaven, coming to an abrupt end as soon as it reached the tree line, which he failed to clear. He was impaled in 3 places by a western white pine, the official state tree of Idaho. We should all be so lucky. Good times.
Good stuff.
Congratulations, Charlie.
Yep.
Living out that dream.
Soar with the angels, buddy.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
And, dude, good times. Another good episode. Rich, did you enjoy this episode?
I did.
How much did you enjoy it?
I ejaculated 5 times.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I think that's where we'll leave it. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.